Vols are now 4-0 with wins over two teams that were ranked when they played them, though NC State does not look like they're going to finish the season ranked. Let's take a look at Tennessee's schedule. There you go. At Arkansas after the open date. Florida, Alabama, open date. Kentucky, Mississippi State. Then you go at Georgia, UTEP, at Vanderbilt. The consensus thinking seems to be, so long as Tennessee beats the teams they're favored against, and let's assume they're still going to be underdogs against Alabama for the sake of this discussion. If they lose to Alabama and Georgia, they finish 10-2. They got wins over NC State and at Oklahoma. Most people seem to think they're in the playoff, period. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, I do. Before the season, I was the one person that didn't think this team was going to be great. I've now changed my opinion. I think that they probably are going to be a playoff team. I think you're going to find out Arkansas and Florida will sort of make or break your season as far as I'm concerned. But, yeah, if you go through this schedule and you only lose those two games, I think you're in the playoffs.
The fact that you won at Oklahoma and you can get in with Alabama and Georgia, it almost makes Arkansas and Florida your most important.
Yeah.
And I guess you'd say Kentucky.
And I think Arkansas will be a surprisingly tough team. But, yes, if you go 10-2 and those are your two losses, you're in.
Jimmy,
I disagree.
Okay, Chuck disagrees.
Well, you're in the mix. My thing is, what happens if Texas wins the SEC and you've lost to Alabama and Georgia? You're most likely in the mix with maybe an Ole Miss, maybe a Big Ten team, maybe somebody
There's
else.
12 slots, though.
Right, yeah, you're very deserving, but I don't think you're a lock. I think you have to see who else is in the mix with you. Because what I saw on their criteria is strength of schedule, head-to-head results, comparative outcomes of common opponents. I don't think we feel very good about Tennessee's strength of schedule as it stacks up to maybe some other teams. So I don't think you can say it's a lock, but you're in the mix for sure.
Jimmy?
I'm in Chuck's camp with that one because
Oh, you're both wrong.
you've played.
So you're wrong. Get off the set. Jimmy, you have the honors. Toss it.
See you, Bob. Because you played UTEP and Kent State, two of the worst teams in college football.
And Chattanooga.
And Chattanooga. So that's awful. NC State's not very good. They were down 52-7 to Clemson, regardless of the final score. So I think it depends on who you're going against.
Exactly.
And so if there's another 10-2 team out there with a strength of schedule that's 15th, and your strength of schedule is 55th, I think there's a debate about whether you get in.
Yeah.
Wow. So
It depends on who.
if Tennessee,
you
let's
compare it to.
see. So if Tennessee goes 10-2 and they don't get in the playoff because of their crummy non-conference schedule, well, I can promise Vol fans now I won't bring that up. We won't talk about that.
I'm just saying the word lock makes it a guarantee.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Right, that's where I am.
well, let me ask you this one. Let me
I
flip
think
it
they'll
on
get in it, but I don't think it's a lock.
All right, let's flip it. Let's say you beat Alabama, lose to Georgia, but you lose to Florida home, or you lose to Arkansas on the road. Would you still get in, or does the loss have to be? Do you think you get in? What does that do to your chances? Let me just ask it that way. Does that make it less likely? I mean, you've beaten Alabama. Does that cancel out a loss to a worse team?
I think 10-2 is the key. That to me is the key. If you go 10-2, yeah, will somebody 11-1 from the Big Ten or the Pac-70 or whatever is still out there? Yes, but I think if you're 10-2, I think Tennessee gets in.
Well, here's what you got to watch out for. Watch out for a Penn State. That's a perfect example of somebody you could be in competition with. And there could be multiple teams like that. Penn State may be 11-1. We don't know. But they don't win their
I think if you
conference.
lose out to an 11-1 team, you lose out to an 11-1 team.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's all
are
I'm
you going to
saying.
have that many? But I think if it's all 10-2s, the SEC 10-2s will make it.
Okay, he's saying that it doesn't matter who you lose to as long as you're 2. I don't know about that.
I don't either.
I don't know about that. I wonder if you get docked more. I don't know that beating Alabama in the committee's eyes will count more than, but they lost to Arkansas or they lost to Kentucky. I don't know. That worries me more. If you're 2 losses to Alabama and Georgia, I feel better about it. Now, look, if you don't lose twice, if you're 11-1, you're in,
Right.
Which they may well do. But we're looking at the cutoff line, what it takes to get in.
Yeah. Here's another concern about the guarantee. How many SEC teams are they going to take?
Exactly.
Are they going to, well,
And I would have said no to that before the season because it's
But
just
here's the
politics
thing.
of it.
If you're not the conference champion, how many spots are there, Jimmy? 7 at large? Boy, I tell you what, if you take 5 SEC, then it gets dicey.
But see, everything I have read and this isn't the final thing, obviously, but everything I read has 5 SEC teams going.
Even when you're reading about the coal industry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's amazing.
And
how
that
it
could
works
well be
itself
the
in.
case, but I just don't think it's guaranteed. Few things in life are
Okay, drop the
guaranteed.
guarantee. All right, we've moved on to another
Oh, have
question
we?
here. Yes, we have. We're talking now specifically, does losing to Arkansas or Florida get countermanded or
Beating Alabama.
Yeah, does beating Alabama cancel that out if you lose to somebody worse?
Yeah, and I don't know what the committee's
Yeah,
gonna,
I don't know
you were
either.
bringing
Right,
it
we
up,
don't
you got a 12-man committee, whatever. I don't know how they would view that. I'm not really sure, but my guess is it would probably wash. Okay, if you beat Alabama and lost to Arkansas, do you get more credit
Yeah.
for beating Alabama than losing to Arkansas? I don't know how they'd look at that.
It's also going to, it'll also take into account this huge game coming up this coming week, Alabama and Georgia.
Yes.
What happens in that game?
Yeah.
Those head-to-head
Yeah.
matchups
Right.
are going to be
Right.
very big between Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee. And then you got Ole Miss who really
And
doesn't
see,
play
and
many of
I'd
them.
like to
And
see
you still
the,
got Missouri a lot.
and I'd like to see the first rankings
Yeah.
when they come out and see where Tennessee is in those.
I think Missouri's going to be penalized
Oh, I
for the way
agree.
they've looked.
I do too. But if you beat Alabama head-to-head and you lost to Arkansas, then you got the head-to-head tiebreaker against Alabama, right?
You do.
So that would benefit you in terms of
Unless
that.
Alabama has 2 losses themselves or 3 losses, and then it becomes a question mark.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
I just feel good about being positive.
thanks, Bob. Appreciate you. Good luck to your Vikings today. When we come back, rapid fire questions on James Pierce, Nico Iamaleava, and penalties. Come on back.